deciding where to stay in Tokyo, there was seemingly an endless list of options and the best place to stay in Tokyo. It varied wildly depending on what you wanted to see and do. And some people were very, very sure, like stay in Roppongi, that is absolutely the best place. Stay in Ginza, stay in Shinjuku, stay in Shibuya. I ended up going for Akihabara. I was going to stay in the Tokyo Station area because it was very central, but I ended up finding a cheaper place in Akihabara, which actually was very central to Asakusa, Shinjuku, Shibuya, and sort of everywhere I wanted to be. And Akihabara itself I thought would be a really cool place for me to stay because it's also known as the Electric City, and it's all about gaming and anime and the side of Japanese culture that I really, really love. So the very first day I was there, the first thing I did was just go outside of my hotel and walk around and experience Japan just as it was. I didn't want to do anything specifically planned, I just wanted to discover, and it was a great place to start. There were all the usual Japanese restaurants, there were a ton of gachapon machines and the arcades as well. There were just all the things I wanted to see in Japan, and I saw them in abundance, and it was fantastic. So I landed in Tokyo yesterday. I am extremely jet lagged. Well, I'm not, because I overslept. I woke up when my alarm went off and thought, no, I need more sleep. So it's quite a bit later than I thought, but I found Super Potato. It is in a very unassuming alley, which, I mean, the Yakuza games have taught me a lot about what I am seeing, which otherwise I'd be like, it can't be down there. It's down there. It's amazing. I'm very excited. And this is Akihabara. It's so cool. So somewhere I absolutely did plan to go and see was a multi-storey shop called Super Potato that's essentially a retro gaming shop and retro arcade on top. Now, I could not find it. I did rely on Google Maps very heavily in Japan, but because it's a big city, it wasn't always exactly sure of where I was. But luckily, I've played a lot of video games set in Japan, Tokyo specifically, and I know from playing those games that a lot of things are down like little alleyways or in entrances to buildings that seem like they'd be going to flats or something. There's not really a lot of signposting, but then once you go in, you go up an elevator and bam, you're in the shop. So it is only from that experience that I managed to find it at all, because there was absolutely no clue that it was going to be there. So that was really useful. But it's a really cool little shop. It's quite small, but multiple levels. So each floor is small, but they had different themes. So the first floor was retro gaming, which was just so awesome to see, like the original Mario Kart games. And the Japanese people take such good care of their things. They had secondhand consoles from the 90s, 80s. They look pristine, honestly, and it was very tempting to buy like an old original Atari or PlayStation or something, but there was not going to be the space in my bag at all to fit it in. They also have like an assortment of other like Pokemon things and just generally everything I love in one shop. It was awesome. Because these places are quite small, because there's limited space in a very densely populated city with a lot of tourists, there was a lot of sort of queuing to even get into each floor. But it wasn't too bad. It was a hot day, so I was just grateful for the air conditioning at this point. The second floor, you were greeted with an enormous Mario, which was obviously fantastic because, yeah, I loved the Nintendo games since I was little. I used to play them with my brother. They were a big part of my childhood. So more retro gaming stuff, but more like the souvenirs and things on the second floor, but still some more consoles, still lots of the games. It was really cool to see the original like Final Fantasy games, the Japanese editions, and it was just like a little bit of history that I've always loved researching but never really got to see in person. I even found some of the old Game & Watch machines that you used to get. I used to have a Mickey Mouse one collecting chicken eggs from like a car boot sale or something. And I think I saw that exact one and loads of others. And again, I just wanted to buy so much, but it was my first day. It was my first day. And there would be so much more that I wanted to buy throughout my over 2 weeks that I was going to be there. So the third floor, after ascending the very challenging steps, I have to say, was the retro arcade itself. It was really awesome to have a load of old school gaming machines that, I've never got to play before. It was a little bit tricky to decide which one because they were all in Japanese and I'm okay at the language, but not that great. So it was very overwhelming. It was absolute sensory overload as well. Just walking around Akihabara on the first day was a complete sensory overload, which I'm not sure I ever got used to by the time I left Japan, which is why here I had to sit down. I just needed to sit down. I couldn't choose a game. I was like, this is too much. It's awesome, but it's so much. And they have a little cafe at the back there as well. I think technically this was floor number 5 because it starts on floor 3. I can't quite remember, I'll be honest with you. I was just completely dazed and confused at this point. But I am also sitting next to a replica of Solid Snake from the Metal Gear Solid games that I used to play. There he is! And that was really awesome. This is me taking a selfie with him. This is the part of the holiday where my little GoPro worked, which was great. Guttingly, I videoed all my way around Fushimi Inari Shrine, which was one of my best days. And the footage was, damaged, basically. It was a cheap camera, that's my bad. But for this part of the trip, you can literally walk around with me, which is quite fun. This is me now giving up and going back to my hostel because I'm overwhelmed. But Akihabara is amazing.